You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. This was a quote to describe the late change in OnePlus's attitude towards the market as a phone brand. While I don't completely agree on the hero to villain transition, even I can't ignore the fact that OnePlus has changed drastically over the past few years. Many people associate this change with the exit of Carl Pei, the former co founder of the company. But I, for one, couldn't believe how one man influenced the company so much that his exit changed the direction the company was heading. Therefore, I began investigating, and it's safe to say there's more than what meets the eye. Our story starts with BBK Electronics. Most people haven't heard of this company, but it is the true kingmaker of the market. The company has various subsidiaries like Oppo, Vivo, IQ. You would be shocked to know this, but even OnePlus is among the list. The company was founded by Pete Law and Carl Pei. Its initial aim was to create flagship killers, basically devices with flagship specs with a not so flagship price. The company flourished in its initial state under the partnership of these two people. This flagship killer status was achieved by the company by selling rebranded Oppo phones with only the only change being the software. Oppo, however, did not mind it, as first of all, both the companies belonged to the same parent company, BBK, so they were like brothers instead of competitors. Secondly, Pete Law was also the vice president of Oppo. Thirdly, Oppo did not bring many of its phones to India while OnePlus's main sales were here. This expanded BBK's influence in the subcontinent. OnePlus, however, did change the software. They partnered up with Cyanogen Inc. to create a software, and this was the birth of Oxygen OS. Oxygen OS was a major hit and a crucial part in the company's rise. Most other brands, including Oppo, customized their software heavily. At the time, the hardware hadn't improved enough to handle such huge softwares. Therefore, the phones released during that time ended up being buggy and slow. OnePlus intelligently did not change too many things with stock Android and created their software with only minor adjustments. This meant that OnePlus phones were faster and less buggy. This, along with the low price of their phones, was enough to capture the market. OnePlus soon became an enthusiast company. They listened to their community and added features that they wanted, but they couldn't sustain like this. Enthusiasts were just a tiny fraction of the global market, and as a company, OnePlus wanted to cater to everyone instead of just one section. Therefore, they began releasing more and more phones in the year. This surely angered a lot of enthusiasts who felt that they were not focused anymore. But this did not really affect the company, as now they had the entire market at their side. At this point in time, there is a turning point. BBK, having observed the friendship between Oppo and OnePlus, wants to combine them. Why, you may ask? Well, the answer is two things. The first being the fact that OnePlus, as always, was mostly just selling Oppo phones. Therefore, merging the two companies wouldn't harm OnePlus, but it would in fact help it to create its own products with Oppo's vast resources. The second reason being that if these companies were merged, the markets where OnePlus was prevalent, which Oppo could not enter, would be under its direct control. Thirdly, such a large fan base for OnePlus meant that Oppo could also reach more potential buyers if they merged. With these advantages, BBK proceeded with its plan. It began its merge by swapping Oxygen OS for Oppo's Color OS in OnePlus phones. Pete Law, on one hand, was pretty fine with this. He, being the vice president of Oppo, had seen this software and knew its potential to probably change the world. Oxygen OS, being just a refinement of stock Android, didn't possess this kind of potential. Another reason for the swap was that the hardware by this time was becoming more and more powerful. Therefore, phones could now support heavier softwares. Due to this, Oxygen OS's main advantage was being nullified. Carl Pei, on the other hand, felt that Oxygen OS was the main differentiating factor between OnePlus and Oppo. He felt that without this software, the company would be without its soul. This resulted in a misunderstanding between the two. The rift had begun. This was not the only reason though. OnePlus over the years had gone from making one phone aimed to kill flagships to many phones ranging from different price brackets. This meant that OnePlus wasn't different from other brands. Carl Pei felt that the initial OnePlus, which focused on their community, was dead. There was no way to fix this too, as OnePlus was being controlled by BBK and Oppo. Therefore, unable to see his company die, he made the tough choice to leave. Carl Pei then started a new company at the same lane and began his process of creating hype. In many interviews, he also indirectly criticized OnePlus by saying that nothing, his company, does not rebrand phones. Well, I can see that. Pete Law, on one hand, stays at OnePlus, which is currently criticized by many reviewers for the slow increase in price of its phones. Both friends are in a not so good state. One has to save a sinking ship, while the other has to start his journey all over again. This is a big example for the statement, teamwork makes the dream work. Thank you for watching the video. I, Adarsh Ramanathan, sign off. Until next week, bye.